Welcome to the channel Prophecies of Tomorrow. Here we explore humanity's big questions and reveal hidden truths that can change our worldview. Today, we will talk about something that has intrigued generations, Nostradamus's prophecies. What did he predict for 2025? And most importantly, what is already happening around us? Michel de Nostradamus, known as Nostradamus, lived in the 16th century and wrote a series of poetic quatrains that still fascinate us today. His words are cryptic, but many believe he accurately predicted historical events such as the rise of Napoleon, the attack on the Twin Towers, and even pandemics. Now, his predictions for 2025 appear to be coming to life. But how to decipher these riddles? And why do so many of his writings seem to resonate with what we are experiencing today? Is it a coincidence, or is there something deeper? Nostradamus spoke of economic crises, global conflicts, and a spiritual transformation. Do you believe we are witnessing the beginning of something bigger? Leave your comment about this. Get ready, because the journey we begin now will challenge your perception of the world. Let's take a deep dive into his words and see how they reflect what's happening in 2025. Among Nostradamus's most impactful predictions is the mention of a great crisis that will shake the foundations of the global economic system. In his quatrains, he talks about times when gold will be useless and bread will be more valuable than the treasures of kings. What did he mean by that? Did he foresee the fragility of our financial system, which in 2025 appears to be more unstable than ever? The signs of this crisis are already visible. From the drastic changes in the job market caused by artificial intelligence to the rise in inflation in several parts of the world, it is undeniable that we are facing a profound transformation. Have you noticed how the cost of living is rising? Basic products, such as food and energy, are increasingly inaccessible to many people. Did Nostradamus see this when he wrote about families crying over the loss of essentials while riches mold in forgotten coffers? Another part of his prophecies suggests the collapse of traditional structures. Nostradamus mentions a new order that would emerge from chaos, a concept that has been debated by scholars and conspiracists for centuries. But what exactly did he mean? In an increasingly connected world, we see great powers vying for economic and technological influence. Who will lead this new order? Would it be the emergence of new international alliances, or something even more revolutionary? Think about the impact of automation and accelerated technological advancement. By 2025, jobs that were once considered secure are rapidly disappearing. Machines are replacing human functions in entire industries. Despite new opportunities emerging in high-tech areas, many do not have access to the education or skills necessary to thrive in this new scenario. It makes you wonder, was Nostradamus warning us about a future in which technological advances would be both a blessing and a curse? In his courts, he also suggests a period of extremes. While some enjoy unprecedented prosperity, others struggle to survive. The polarization between rich and poor, the concentration of economic power in a few hands, and the exclusion of large populations can be direct interpretations of his words. This inequality is not only financial, but also social and political. Have you ever stopped to think about how this affects our daily lives? Furthermore, Nostradamus speaks of an era in which everything will be evaluated, but little will be understood. This resonates with today's reality, where the complexity of economic systems seems to leave many on the sidelines, unable to understand or control what is happening. We are living in times where digital money, cryptocurrencies, and new forms of exchange are reshaping the concept of wealth. But does this bring us closer to a fairer future, or does it just reinforce the structures that Nostradamus feared so much? Another important point is the fragility of the global financial system itself. Nostradamus mentioned that the great titans will fall under the weight of their own excesses. Recently, we have seen banking scandals, collapses of large corporations, and growing distrust in institutions that were once pillars of society. Did he foresee these modern crises, where trust seems to be a more valuable resource than money itself? Finally, he writes about the arrival of a new currency or economic system, something many believe to be the transition to digital currencies or even a unified global system. Could this be the answer to the crisis we face, or the beginning of a new era of control? The idea that something unique will emerge to unify the world economy may seem hopeful to some, but alarming to others. The prophecy of the great economic crisis is a call to reflection. It forces us to question our role as individuals and as a society in the face of these transformations. Have you ever thought about what you would do if the current system collapsed? How would you prepare for a world where essentials become scarce? These questions are fundamental to understanding not only what Nostradamus tried to tell us, but also how we can act to face these challenges. What do you think? Are we ready to deal with these changes, or are we victims of our own system? Leave your opinion in the comments. Among Nostradamus's writings, some of the most alarming predictions concern nature. He speaks of rains of fire, lands swallowed by water, and fierce winds that will sweep the world. Many scholars believe that he was describing extreme weather phenomena, something that in 2025 has already become part of our daily lives. But did he foresee only the impact of nature, or also our responsibility as humanity? The 21st century has seen an unprecedented increase in natural disasters, devastating floods, uncontrollable wildfires, more intense and prolonged hurricanes. In his quatrains, Nostradamus mentions seas that rage and overflow their banks, destroying cities and lives. Did he predict the rise in sea levels caused by global warming? Or perhaps he was warning us about our neglect of the environment? Have you ever wondered how we got to this point? The incessant search for resources, the destruction of ecosystems, and rampant pollution are just some of the factors that contribute to this reality. Nostradamus wrote that man will dig his own grave, unable to contain his greed. This phrase sounds frighteningly current, especially when we observe how the unbridled exploitation of nature has brought us here. The prophecy of rains of fire can be interpreted as a reference to the forest fires that devastate several regions of the world. Tropical forests, such as the Amazon, are being destroyed at an alarming rate, and the consequences of this go beyond the borders of the affected areas. These fires not only destroy lives and habitats, they also contribute to global warming, creating a vicious cycle that seems impossible to stop. Was Nostradamus warning us about this scenario when he mentioned, "The air will become thick and the gray skies will hide the sun"? Another urgent issue is the water crisis. By 2025, many regions of the world face increasing shortages of drinking water. Nostradamus wrote about rivers that will dry up and fertile lands that will become deserts. He predicted perhaps the impacts of climate change that we are seeing now, with extreme droughts and desertification advancing rapidly in many parts of the planet. Have you ever thought about what your life would be like without enough water for basic needs? Furthermore, Nostradamus mentions that the winds will bring destruction, carrying storms of dust and misery. This can be linked to the increase in hurricanes and tornadoes, which have become more frequent and destructive due to climate change. Entire cities are being destroyed in a matter of hours, leaving thousands of people homeless. Did he already know we would face this kind of challenge? However, his prophecies are not just a warning about the physical impact of climate catastrophes. He also speaks of a spiritual transformation that must emerge in the midst of chaos. Nostradamus suggests that humanity will only find peace when it learns to live in harmony with nature. This makes us reflect. Are we willing to change our habits and review our priorities? Another fascinating aspect of his predictions is the mention of submerged cities and disappearing islands. As sea levels rise, we see coastal regions facing the risk of permanent flooding. Large metropolises, such as New York, Mumbai, and Jakarta, are already facing real challenges with rising waters. Could these be the sunken cities he mentioned centuries ago? But despite the dark tone, Nostradamus also brings a message of hope. He speaks of an era in which man will rediscover ancient wisdom and learn to respect the limits of the earth. Perhaps he was telling us that there is still time to change. The question is, are we ready to act before it's too late? And you, what do you think we can do to avoid an even more devastating future? Do you believe these catastrophes are inevitable, or is there something we can do as individuals and as a society to change this fate? Share your opinion in the comments, and help create a collective reflection. Nostradamus is widely recognized for his predictions of wars and conflicts that would shake the world. In his quatrains, he speaks of flags will burn in fields of blood and blind leaders leading people into the abyss. For many scholars, these words are a wake-up call to the rising geopolitical tensions we see today, and in 2025, the world appears more divided than ever. Currently, humanity faces a new era of polarization, where nations fight for power, territory, and resources. Trade wars, political rivalries, and territorial disputes are at the center of many headlines. But did Nostradamus foresee this scenario? He mentions a great ruler who will lead the world into chaos and fragile alliances that will crumble in the moment of greatest need. Who would this ruler be, and which alliances are about to fall apart? By 2025, conflicts in various parts of the world threaten to escalate into something much larger. The prophecy of the Third Great War is one of Nostradamus's most discussed. He writes, "Fire and iron will dominate the earth, and darkness will cover the continents." For many, this vision is eerily similar to the threats of nuclear conflict that loom over us. With the advancement of lethal technologies and the arms race, the risk of mass destruction has never been more real. But it's not just about weapons and battles. Nostradamus also speaks of tongues that will divide, spreading discord between brothers. This could be interpreted as a reference to the internal divisions many nations face. In several countries, political polarization has reached alarming levels, separating families and communities. Did Nostradamus predict that, even before external wars, we would fight among ourselves? One of the most disturbing quatrains mentions the East that will rise like a storm, bringing terror to the West. Many associate this with the growing influence of Asian powers and the tensions that arise from this new power dynamic. He even writes about a dragon that will awaken, breathing fire in all directions. This dragon, according to some interpreters, could symbolize a powerful country whose rise will shake the global balance. On the other hand, Nostradamus also makes it clear that it is not just powerful nations that will shape the destiny of humanity. He mentions small people who will endure and rise as beacons of hope in times of despair. This leads us to reflect, in the midst of global chaos, is there still room for unity, solidarity, and the building of bridges instead of walls? Another fascinating element of his prophecies is the idea of a traitor within the fortress, a metaphor that many believe represents espionage, cyber attacks, and sabotage. In a world where technology plays a central role, information control and digital attacks are weapons as dangerous as bombs and tanks. Going deeper into this idea, he mentions that the battle will no longer be fought on the field, but in the mind. Could this be a prediction of the psychological impact of modern wars? And, amid this dark scenario, Nostradamus makes a powerful appeal. Only those who cultivate wisdom and peace in their hearts will survive the storm. This phrase echoes a timeless message of hope and resilience. Even in the face of the worst adversity, he seems to believe that humanity has the ability to reinvent itself and find new paths. Do you believe we are close to a major global conflict, or is there still time for reconciliation and dialogue? These questions are more than rhetorical. They are an invitation for us to reflect on our role in shaping the future. Write in the comments how you see the current scenario and what we can do to avoid the mistakes of the past. At the heart of Nostradamus's prophecies is an enigmatic warning about the role of technology in the future of humanity. He writes of iron machines that will take the place of men, and an invisible network that will connect all but imprison many. These words, even written in the 16th century, seem to accurately describe the world we live in today. We are immersed in an era of unprecedented technological advances. Artificial intelligence, robotics, and global connectivity have transformed our lives in ways Nostradamus could hardly have imagined. Or could he? When he mentions men who will lose their souls in glowing boxes, many believe this refers to our obsession with electronic devices. Have you ever found yourself spending hours in front of a screen, disconnected from the world around you? One of the most intriguing aspects of his prophecies is the mention of voices that will speak without bodies, and images that will appear in the air like ghosts. For many, this sounds like a description of technology such as telephony, streaming, and even virtual reality. In 2025, these innovations are not just part of our lives. They define how we interact, learn, and even relate to each other. But did Nostradamus foresee the dangers associated with this technological dependence? He also speaks of great eyes that will watch the whole world. This excerpt is often associated with the rise of mass surveillance and data collection. In a world where cameras, satellites, and algorithms monitor almost every aspect of our lives, the idea of being constantly watched has gone from a fantasy to an unsettling reality. Have you ever wondered to what extent your privacy is being protected? Another alarming point in Nostradamus's quatrains is the reference to men who will create their own executioners. Many see this as an allusion to artificial intelligence. With robots and AI systems playing increasingly important roles in areas such as healthcare, transportation, and security, concerns arise that these technologies could eventually slip out of our control. He even mentions that man's arrogance will be his undoing, perhaps referring to our excessive reliance on machines that we ourselves have created. But the predictions don't stop there. Nostradamus writes of a net that will swallow the minds of the young and lead them away from the path of wisdom. Could this be an omen of the impact of social media? In 2025, we live in a world where digital platforms dominate the attention of billions of people, especially younger generations. The psychological impact of this constant exposure is a topic of growing debate. Do you believe we are using technology wisely, or is it controlling us? However, not everything about Nostradamus's prophecies about technology is gloomy. He also mentions that man will find the way to overcome great evils using the knowledge he has accumulated. This can be interpreted as a reference to the use of technology to solve global challenges such as disease, poverty, and climate change. In 2025, we see innovations that save lives and improve the world, such as advanced vaccines, sustainable agriculture, and renewable energy. But in order for us to reap the benefits of technology without falling into its traps, we need to make conscious choices. Nostradamus seems to remind us that knowledge is a double-edged sword. It can save us or destroy us, depending on how we use it. And you, how do you see the role of technology in our lives? Do you believe it brings us closer to a more promising future, or are we becoming prisoners of our own creations? Write in the comments your opinion and how you think we should balance technological advancement with essential human values. Amidst so many prophecies that seem to paint frightening scenarios, Nostradamus leaves us with something profoundly important. The idea that even in the face of chaos, humanity can find the path to hope. He writes, "In the ashes, fields will flourish. From destruction, renewal will rise." His words are a reminder that despite the challenges we face, there is always the possibility of reconstruction and transformation. When looking ahead to 2025 and the predictions we've discussed so far, an inevitable question arises. How can we use these messages as a call to action? Nostradamus not only warned of imminent dangers, he also spoke about the power of faith, wisdom, and unity. He mentions that those who choose love over hate, wisdom over ignorance, and peace over discord will inherit the earth. We live in times where individual choice makes all the difference. Every action, every word, and every decision we make can contribute to a better future. The question for you is, what kind of world do you want to build? What role will you play in these prophecies? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Your voice can inspire others. Furthermore, we cannot forget that the future, according to Nostradamus, is also shaped by a spiritual awakening. He invites us to reconnect with what really matters: our relationships, our purpose, and our faith. He writes, "When men turn their eyes to heaven, they will find the light that never left them." This is a powerful reminder that no matter the adversity, there is something greater guiding us. And now I have a special request for you. If you've made it this far, it's because you found value in this content. So don't forget to like this video. This helps the channel grow and reach more people who, like you, are in search of knowledge and deep reflections. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel Prophecies of Tomorrow, sign up now and activate the bell so you don't miss any future content. Share this video with friends and family who you think would be interested in these messages and reflections. Let's expand this community of people who seek wisdom and transformation together. And before you leave, I want to invite you to continue this journey with us. On your screen right now, you are seeing 2 videos recommended for you. Click on one to discover more about fascinating topics and reflections that will expand your perspective. Don't miss this opportunity to delve even deeper into the world of prophecies and spiritual knowledge. Thank you so much for watching until the end, and we'll see you in the next video.